In 2020, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of blockchain projects and interoperating protocols. So how do we tell one from another? "11 years have elapsed since Satoshi Nakamoto first published the white paper and source code for Bitcoin, kickstarting an explosion of technical innovations and, yes, scams. Now, in 2020, there are hundreds of projects and interoperating protocol, the digital equivalent of Lego blocks for economic rules. With all these projects and everyone talking their book, the noise it makes is all just so fuzzy. Instead of trying to explain everything in one short video, I'm going to do it in a series that explores Cardano, the vision, the mission, the technology, and seeing just how well that technology maps to the declared statements. My particular focus is exploring how blockchains and Cardano can be used within the creative and cultural arts sector. Tēnā koutou katoa. After spending some time away, I finally made it back. Now, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this one. Right, let's get straight into the details. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of blockchain projects. No one knows what will work. The design space is just too large. Despite the maximalists and shills, there is no one ideal project, no ideal community or network configuration, no ideal unit of value. As a result, the technology, the applications, and problems will continually evolve in unpredictable ways. Blockchains are an institutional technology, useful to coordinate the actions of crowds, platforms, and machines. All are agents of free will. Just look at DeFi. It makes the ICO craze of 2017 look like an ornamental cabbage. Well, they kind of were, to be honest. The architecture of the internet evolves in a similar complex and chaotic environment. However, costs and value are external to the protocols, and that omission has resulted in a concentration of power. Value accounting is raison d'etre of blockchains. Hence, understanding the finance and economic mechanisms as well as their incentives are all part of the design problem. The upshot? The design space and local preferences are too diverse for any single network to win. However, it is incorrect to assume every network will survive. Newer projects and associated tokens can turn out to be slow-motion pump and dumps. Charles Ponzi Madoff with OneCoin. And we're not out of the ICO craze yet. Many more projects will fail, not because they set out to be scams like open source projects in general. The real competitive threat for blockchains and Layer 2 protocol is abandonment and irrelevance.
I'm not dead!
Yeah, he says he's not dead.
Yes, he is. I'm not!
Software developers lose interest, or more likely, speculators, marketers, and sales folk lose interest when the innovation premium flattens out. Occasionally and momentarily being brought back to life by a meme.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. To
understand any network or Layer 2 protocol, you have to consider the technology, initial investment, economics, community, and where the project sits in the broader blockchain ecosystem. If you can accept those arguments, you can take one or two positions. The first being that every project will evolve towards enhancing a single network because it is the only real source of value. This is a narrow interpretation of the network effects argument that underpins the Bitcoin maximalist position. Hayek would be spinning in his grave. The idea that there should be a single numere to measure and account for value is problematic on many levels. It would tend to amplify existing inequalities and inefficiencies. The alternative is to view the blockchain ecosystem as a dynamic polycentric network, an evolving system of systems where each blockchain network, public or private, considers their long-term sustainability and adapts to the changes within their environment. Projects will be abandoned, others will live along, some will build some long-term success, nothing unusual. The whole process is a random walk. The blockchain ecosystem succeeds regardless. However, because digital technology is political, ideally society ends up being better off, an objective we need to be mindful of. Public blockchain networks, the associated market-based accounting and incentive structures that they enable, are distributed marketing-based organizing systems. They're an embodiment of the Keynesian firm. Decentralized networks and digitally native, not a product, but a business. You don't get service-level agreement, and you don't call for support. There are political forms and therefore political in nature. The service level they provide is an emergent property that the community that surrounds the network. That community forms around desirable properties that reinforce a political and moral philosophy. Desirable properties include being fair, robust against attack or censorship. They need to be intentional about limiting the concentration of power and privilege. This leads to being owned and governed by a robust and engaged community. What form it takes is a little more challenging to determine, but open networks that are decentralized will win long term. As such, any open network needs to support monetary forms for transaction, speculation, and commitment. In a way, individual preferences can be freely expressed. It needs to have an opinion on identity. It must support and form alliances, interoperating with other projects internally and across networks to remain relevant. Each project independently finding fitness in a particular niche, adapting as the whole ecosystem evolves. Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room. The majority of people interested in crypto and DeFi space at the moment are speculators. They aren't interested in anything else. Intentionally or not, they are funding the development of the underlying technology and market innovation. This is normal and good, just don't risk what you can't afford to lose. In the thicket of techno-meme-filled foliage, it can be challenging to see the farming ecosystem for all the fertilized crops. I mean, collective action through self-interest is the very definition of Adam Smith's invisible hand. Cooperation and competition are antithetical to any good monopolist. I mean, capitalist or bureaucrat. Here's the rub. Do you build on someone else's platform or do you build on your own? Building your own is expensive, but if it's someone else's, the possibilities that it can be pulled from under you is very real. You'll certainly end up paying high rents.
It's good to be the king.
Open decentralized networks can provide an alternative. They let you build on a shared foundation without becoming serfs. That is the fundamental reason why decentralization matters. But being decentralized isn't a single factor. It is a multifaceted, and it isn't a panacea. Good institutional design matters more than the rules, which are embedded in the technical architecture of the design and the incentives, the governance and the character of the network. All these are factored into the design.
Yo. So your DAO is ready to rock, and I got to maximize my alpha. So I went ahead and deployed it for you.
Frankly, if all you care about is short-term yields, then the above statement isn't going to help you very much. What does matter depends on a project's mission, vision, strategy, and principles. The factors which determine the entire architecture for emergent ecosystems are not just technical, but broadly encompass community structure and dynamics also. This is the first in a series of videos explaining decentralization. So if you enjoyed the first video, be sure to give a like and watch out for the other parts of the series. Just don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more. Anyway, ka kite anō au ia koe. I'll see you in the next one.